This is David, your host. You're listening to the last podcast where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. If this is your first time listening, welcome. I hope you gain some insight, value, and if you're returning, I hope you continue to hear value and get some tips and ideas that will help shape your life for the better. I don't have a name for this podcast, at least not yet. But in the previous podcast, you've heard that I've lost my wife. And this is my second week without her being in my life. And just to give you a little context, I was married for 27 years. And my wife was my friend for 43 years. I've known my wife since I was 17 years of age. And it's hard to, even though when you think about it, it's hard to think about life without her being in it. And one of the reasons why I decided to talk about this on my podcast, I believe it's also therapeutic. And I believe that by me being transparent of how I feel and what's going on in my life, it might help somebody else. It might help somebody know that they're not alone. That, no matter how somebody might come to you and say, "Hey, I'm sorry for your loss," and and I understand and I thank them for their compassion, but in reality, at the height of your pain, there's nothing nobody can say or do to mitigate that pain, to take away the loneliness that you feel or lessen the void that's left behind. I know that my wife fought like crazy, like I've never seen anyone fight to live. I've watched her every day for the past 3 years. And she is an amazing woman. She is a strong woman. And I say that because I know that even though her physical body is no longer with me and I can no longer converse with her, I do find solace and joy that she is not feeling any more pain. She's not having any more devices implanted in her. She's not being poked and prodded by doctors and nurses and them coming up with more ways for her to either be in pain and live another day. And she's at peace right now. And I find happiness in that. But I'm still left with a void because I can no longer see her physical body and talk to her physically and actually see her. And one of the reasons why, I feel while she was here, why didn't I do more? We go through that. And, survivors go through that. Family members, a loved one that has passed away. We deal with the I coulda, I shoulda, and I wished I would have. We deal with all those emotions that are flying around. And, wishing that we had more time with them. Wishing that we would have said more to them. That we tell them I love you more than we should have. We should have said it more often. I don't know. But I do know this. I know she's in a better place. I know she is not in pain. I know that our Heavenly Father in heaven has taken the reins and He has shielded her, and she's now walking the streets paved of gold. There's room for her, and she has her own room in God's mansion. I know that. I'm happy that she's there. And I know she's looking down on all of us, and she's, wishing we get our lives together. But speaking of getting our lives together, I've been dealing with death for the past 3 years. I've lost 5 family members and then my wife. My wife and my sister and my aunt were the most, well, I could say my sister and my wife were the most influential women in my life ever. And when I've lost them, a part of me felt like it was gone. And yes, there is a void. And yes, I plan to fill that void with God by getting to know him on a more personal level. But until that void is filled, I have to keep on reading my scriptures. I got to keep on doing whatever it is I need to do to get past the pain and past the loneliness. And I know that I will be able to do it over a period of time. But I know that it's not just going to happen overnight. But outside of all of that, I find myself asking a real hard question now, that outside of my kids, outside of my wife, my sister, now that it's practically just me, I don't have any other immediate family left. Who am I? What am I to do from this point? My life has been surrounded by doing for my wife, and trying to impress my sister and trying to do for others pretty much instead of myself. And, mostly the last 3 years was really trying to take care of my wife and be there for her the best I could. So, who am I? I had to take a hard, long look at what I want to do with the rest of my life from here on out. I do know that I am a child of God. I was fiercely made in a masterpiece, as all of you were, because we were made in his image, all of us. So I do know that I have quality. I do know that I'm a masterpiece. But what do I do with this masterpiece? Yeah, I know that God also gave us talents, gifts, and I have to ask myself, what talent do I have? What gifts do I own? And how could I use that? I know he gives us these talents and gifts to move forward in the kingdom of heaven and to do good for others, lift others up, inspire others. So I don't want to wallow away in self-pity. I don't want to wallow away and be swallowed up by my pain and by my loneliness and by my hurt. But what I'm going to do is embrace all that I am in God. And I'm going to use that strength, not for self-pity, but to embrace his power in my life. So I plan, and my goals, they all shifted. They're all changing. It's fluid right now. I'm not going to tell you I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but I can tell you with all certainty that I will work on inspiring as many people as I can to do good, to change their life for the better. I lost my wife. I lost my sister. My wife is one of the strongest women I've ever met in my life. She would want me, she would want all her kids to do good, to do something extraordinary in their lives, to pick up the pieces and move forward. She would want us, without a doubt, to keep on learning, to keep on growing, to keep on touching lives. And she would want us to enhance our own lives, come together as a family, be one unit, and grow and help others. But more importantly, put God first in everything we do. She would want that more than anything. So that is the first thing that I'm going to work on. You can't really work on the outside until you work on the inside. I have to deal with a lot of issues, and I have to ask myself some serious questions. What I want to do with the rest of my life. Where do I want to go? How do I want to start? So at this point, I'm going to take the time to transform. I'm going to ask myself some hard questions, and I'm going to answer them. And then I'm going to take those answers and I'm going to turn it into action. And I'm going to start right here on this podcast by inspiring others. It's okay that you weep, that you endure tragedy and laughter and pain, sorrow. Endure it for the night, because joy comes in the morning. What I'm really saying here, everything is a season. And you'll have a season of pain. You'll have a season of sorrow. But you'll have a season of joy. You have a season of happiness as well. So it's what you do with that pain. It's what you do with that sorrow. It's what you do with the loneliness that counts. Sure, you can wallow away and drink yourself silly and hurt yourself even more. I'm quite sure the devil would be laughing on that. Or instead of being so hell-bent on destroying what is left of you, why not build you up? Why not learn all you can learn? Be all you can be. And Jesus died on the cross in Calvary so that we may have life, but not just life and exist, not to live here and don't do anything and just exist to pay bills. Jesus died so that we may have life and that we might have it more abundantly. So it's time for us to shake off whatever it is that's bothering us. If you're lonely, find someone to help fill the void that will help build you up, not break you down. Be around people who are inspiring, who are uplifting. And yeah, we hear that all the time. I know it, but it's true. So until you do it, you got to keep hearing it. And I just wanted to really talk about that. You hear a lot of noise because I have a lot of people in my house right now, and I know that the only way I can get these podcasts out is when I'm driving. And that's when I'm mostly thinking. No music, no nothing. If you guys are going through a hard time in your life right now, and you need someone to talk to, you need someone to listen, you can go ahead and send an email to the last podcast 443@gmail.com. Hey, I'll write you back. My name is Dave. You're listening to the last podcast, where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. If you're going through anything in your life right now that's pretty challenging, and you need someone to help inspire you, help uplift you, give me a call. I would love to talk with you. Have a great day.